Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Bulldog Show. As always, we're sponsored by Deters Law, Parks Yoga, and check us out on all of our platforms. I'm going to focus today on the East Palestine disaster, where Norfolk Southern had a derailment, and as part of that derailment, they had like 10 cars that were filled with lots of toxic chemicals, and they dumped them out into a stream, and then they set them on fire, caused a big flume. And the chemicals that are in here are very toxic. They can cause cancer. There's obviously a concern of a cancer cluster now there. Bottom line is you won't know all those things until sometime in the future. There's already been 3 lawsuits already filed. I'm sure the lawyers and the law firms up in that neck of the woods is already cleaning up as far as grabbing plaintiffs and filing lawsuits. And those will probably all get consolidated down the road. And of course, right now, you don't know what the damages are. Here's what I want to focus on, which is really non-legal. What I want to focus on is Norfolk Southern's response. I don't know who advises these people. You know, Norfolk Southern has in-house crisis team. You know, they probably have some kind of outside crisis team. But what they've done so far is they've offered $1,000 to each resident. And they've set up $1 million quote unquote charity fund. Like, who's advising Norfolk Southern for this? If I was advising Norfolk Southern, first off, I wouldn't have handled it the way they handled it. But the big thing that I wouldn't have done is I would come big. I'd come strong. In other words, I would, on our dime, Norfolk Southern, I'd be hiring everybody that's needed to test the area for anything and everything. I mean, I wouldn't be waiting on just the EPA. I would be doing it myself. I would also be overly generous right now to all of these residents. What's $10,000 a person? Not much, is it? If you're Norfolk Southern and what this disaster could cost them, $1,000? Give them something that's real to where those residents go, well, thank you very much. This could help me out in my life right now. But those people who are advising Norfolk Southern and I see this over and over again, how people just mishandle it. By the way, folks, you see me deal with my own stuff all the time. How do I deal with it? I deal with it pretty good. I handle whatever comes my way very well. I mean, so just representing myself and advising myself how to deal with each situation, I ought to go into the business of doing it. But the crisis management that they're doing is just god-awful. The lawsuits will all get consolidated. It's going to be interesting to see what the long-term effect is. Maybe we get lucky and there's no bad long-term effect. We'll just have to wait and see. I want to honor Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch, I was born in 1963, so I grew up in the 60s, 70s, and of all those beautiful women from back in the 1970s that we grew up watching, Raquel Welch, I put at the top of my list of all-time 5 most beautiful, famous women. Along with her is Bo Derek, Farrah Fawcett's number 2, Bo Derek, Anne Margaret, Kathy Ireland. But Raquel Welch, what a beautiful, beautiful woman. May she rest in peace. She's also smart. Black Hawk helicopter crashed on an interstate in Alabama, and 2 people died. May they rest in peace. Terrible. Mike Pence has decided he's going to fight the subpoena to get him to testify relative to that day in history. And last but not least, Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden, besides just doing a terrible job, can you imagine? I want to turn the clock back. Can you imagine if Ronald Reagan or Jimmy Carter had the same relationships with family members and everything else going on with the Soviet Union? In other words, exact same things, but one's the Soviet Union and it's Reagan and Carter. Can you imagine what the media would do to them? Can you imagine? Imagine if Ron Jr. did everything that Hunter Biden did with the laptop and everything else. I mean, can you imagine? Is this the time and age that we live in? The media just has joined up with that team Democrats. Doesn't matter. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day. Coming up next is Bulldog TV Local News. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to Bulldog TV Local News, sponsored by Deters Law, Parks Yoga, and check us out on all of our platforms. The top story that I'm using today is Christ Hospital. They put out a warning yesterday, I got one of the letters too, letting Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield patients know things could change. The contract is up March 31st. The insurance care in the hospital are in negotiations to renew their contract. If they can't come up with an agreement, then medical centers, outpatient locations, and urgent care would not be covered. Let me tell you something. They do this to us all the time. I'm sure an agreement will be reached. But isn't that something? Isn't that something? Long crime. Clarence Howell fatally shot his wife Mildred Wednesday at their home on Section Road in Roselawn. The 82-year-old Clarence then turned the gun on himself and took his own life. Wow. Sad. Dale Meyer has been arrested by Ludlow police for stealing thousands of dollars from a veterans charity. Meyer was the treasurer of the Ludlow vets when he pocketed over $8,000 from the nonprofit. When asked why, Meyer said he wired the money to his New York girlfriend to buy her out of a Playboy contract. Wow. UC health doctor has been suspended for luring patients to his home and doing unlicensed genital exams. If you're going to do genital exams, they got to be licensed. Dr. Rudell Saunders allegedly told at least 5 people he had to complete a certain number of ultrasounds for training. He lured the patients to his apartment and hand-examined their testicles before performing an unnecessary ultrasound. You got to ask yourself 2 questions. This all really did. What about the people that went for this? Sure, Doc, I'll come to your apartment so you can play with my testicles and then do a ultrasound. Police are looking for an endangered missing adult, Jewel Rossman from Cincinnati. She was last seen driving away from her home on Wayward Winds Drive on February 10th. Rossman is a 5'5", blonde hair and blue eyes. Kentucky State News, a Kentucky bill proposed. There's all kinds of stuff going on in Frankfort dealing with A to Z. I kind of like to just wait till it's all over to see what actually got passed. By Representative Emily Callaway, gets tough on illegal abortions on the state. The proposed bill would allow Kentucky to prosecute illegal abortions as homicides. Another bill. Covington officials are opposing a bill that states any adult-oriented business must be 1,000 feet away from certain locations. In the bill, performances such as a drag show can't be close to a park, school, church, library, or residence. He thinks, Joe Meyer, Covington mayor, thinks it's too broad. John didn't get much sleep last night. They opposed the bill. You can't have a drag show near a park, school, church, library. Covington says, wait a minute. In Ohio State news, Ohio lawmakers introduced a bill that they hope would make hospital prices more transparent and affordable. The bill would add a state law requirement for hospitals to post standard pricing information online. Officials hope the required price list will eliminate surprise. Surprise! How many, aren't we all surprised when we get those bills? A new bill in Ohio addressing a next-generation 911 system would allow texting a 911 emergency. The bills would require all counties to upgrade their system. It's based on technology and logistics. You got to text it because calling it's just too difficult. And in sports, did you see this? Major League Baseball, they're going to have big rule changes. The rules include a pitch clock, banning the shift and fields, and with bigger bases. And you know what? Steve Kitchens, my news guy, I sent him the article with all the details. Does he give me the details? No. So you're not getting any details today. Thanks, Steve. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Coming up is Spindley, Jamie Spindley in World News. Maybe his show will be better than mine.
G'day, Bulldog Nation. Today's headlines from around the world. Who would even think that 9 days after Turkey's earthquake disaster, 3 women and 2 children have been found alive? The death toll exceeds 40,000 people in the deadliest event in Turkish history. In Australia, 2 fishermen who were rescued from the ocean are being hunted by the Aussie police after 365 kilograms of cocaine washed ashore. The pair were among 3 men clinging to a container 10 miles off the coast in Western Australia. A teenager aged 17 years old cycled from Alaska to Argentina. Liam Garner started his trip from coast of the Arctic Ocean in Alaska and cycled 20,000 miles in 14 countries in 527 days by himself. What an amazing adventure. And in sports, a big win last night. Manchester City beat Arsenal 3-1. Pep Guardiola's team are back on top for now, and later today, Barcelona will play Manchester United in the Europa League. Until tomorrow,
Mr. Spindley,
cheerio.
before you conclude your show, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Eric Bulldog.
How come you're not commenting on the fact that South Park made fun of Harry and Meghan? Don't you think that that's big world news that South Park is now making fun of Harry and Meghan?
Do you know, folks, I've never seen an episode of South Park, so I have no idea what he's on about.
Nuh-uh.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously. Until tomorrow, guys, take care.